Hey guys, Krystal Nichols here, and I'm going to talk to you today about three-way calls. So you've already heard how to do a really great three-way call, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that and talk to you about why we do three-way calls. Because I can sit here all day long and tell you to do them, but unless you understand the value of why we do them, you're not going to understand the whole picture and see the duplication. And that's what I really want you to understand. So to just break it down, there are several different kinds of three-way calls that we use. When I first started this, I'll tell you, I didn't really need three-way calls. I felt like I could close people by myself. I got to manager, no problem. But my coach, Kara, one of my coaches, started a promotion, and she started offering people $10 a piece to do three-way calls with her. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could make $100 in a day. Well, what happened was she started closing everybody right there over the three-way call. And I learned a tremendous amount of information that I didn't know. And I thought, wow, there is something to this three-way call. So that's when I really learned that that was huge for duplication. So let's talk about the different kinds of three-way calls that we as a team specifically use. First of all, you've got your prospect call, and that's probably the very most important one to do a three-way call on, especially if you're new, because on the prospect call, several things happen. First of all, that person that you're talking to is a big skeptic. I can promise you, we all are when it comes to weight loss and supplements. And so if you have that third party on there, it's going to validate and it's going to build credibility for everything that we're talking about, because it's not a one person that's had success. There's several people, okay? And they can hear stories and they can be related to. So prospect call. Number 2, going over the box call. If you, especially if you're new, you need to have somebody on there to help you go over the box, because we want to make sure they have good success. We have a very awesome system, but there's just a couple of quick things that they need to know on that first call to be successful, and you need to utilize your coach to make sure that that new person coming in understands the how and the why of how the system works, okay? The third one, the day 9 call, day 15 call. After they've gotten through their 8 days, it's so critical that we do a day 9 call and talk about their successes, talk about what's going to happen the next week, talk about a couple of changes that we're going to make or we may not make, talk about what they're going to do to continue on, and most importantly, talk about how they're not going to be cheating, right? I know a lot of you like to do day 2, day 3 calls, checking in there in between their 8 day. That's totally fine. Day 15. Very important to have good success with your product users. Okay, let's talk about troubleshooting calls. Troubleshooting calls, we address issues, problems, and questions, and just overall help people to make sure they're rocking and rolling on the products like we anticipate and that they should be doing, right? And if they're not, we need to figure out why. So that's another place where, especially if you're new, you need to get with an experienced coach, because we can help you. Okay, the next one, strategy call. I know a lot of you on our teams are very familiar with these because we do first of the month strategy calls. I encourage everybody, director and above, to reach out to your team to do them with your front line, right? It's so important to know where you're going, to have goals set, and to make sure that you have a strategy plan to execute, okay? And then the last one that we're going to talk about today is an excitement call. Okay, excitement call is just anything from sharing stories to sharing business stories to sharing really great health testimonies. So important, though, that people get those excitement calls, because it helps build that wall of belief in our products and our system and our incredible duplication plan. So let's talk a little bit more about the why. Three-way calls. Credibility and third-party validation. It's so critical. Like I said, I could get on a phone call and talk to you, and you might think I'm the only person that has success, but if I plug in my friend over here and she also tells you about her success, and she's older than me, and she's had a hysterectomy, and she's had 5 kids, it's going to seem really realistic, because there's more than just one person doing this, right? Weight loss is so fickle and it's so skeptical. We've got to have that third-party validation. Second of all, education. If you're brand new, I guarantee you don't know everything there is to know. And you know what? The cool thing about this compensation plan is we pay you to learn. You get on the call, you're making money as you learn. So get on the phone, push mute, and listen to your upline as they do this call. It's going to be incredible for your success. That's how I learned how to coach somebody to lose 100 pounds, even though I've only lost 15 myself. The next important process is duplication. If you're not doing three-way calls when somebody asks you about the product, if you're sending them a video or you're waiting to invite them to an event, your business is going to grow like this. Three-way calls create massive action and massive duplication. And I'll tell you what, there's a reason why everybody in this industry that's successful is doing them, and that's because they work. So I wanted to break it down and go a little bit further for you today so you understand the why behind three-way calls. The very last thing is believability. We talked about credibility, but it also makes it seem very believable. Okay? And so it's so critical. So don't do this alone. Use the three-way. Don't hesitate to reach up to your upline or a sister line or somebody to help you. So talk to you guys soon.